make a couple points before we start. So I've done my last like 7 stream drafts. I think we've 7 winned like 5 or 6 of them. Like I've been on a good tear recently.
1 second. Thanks for the congratulations, Clarity GGTV.
Oh yeah, I can't see any of those. So sorry. And I have some opinions. I think strangers are actually a pretty good archetype.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Like, there's a lot of good new strangers. I can totally agree with that.
I also think that Omens is like a smaller set too, right?
Yeah.
So you end up, but they have the same proportion of, they have the same number of rare, uncommon, and common strangers. So you end up seeing more of them. Like they're on average more frequent, right? So like you just end up with a lot more strangers these days.
And they're also much more powerful on average.
Yeah, I agree. So okay.
So
this pack,
how about I give my opinion on the pack first, and then you elaborate where I am wrong and why, and also how you would differently approach it, and then we can discuss if I still disagree with your assessment.
Sure.
Okay, so I would like consider the most pickable cards here to probably be Harrier and Extract. I can see like Extract being a realistic alternative over Harrier, because I think Harrier, while is good, is only like on a similar level as like a good common or uncommon like Extract.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I would say. So Harrier is really aggressively costed for a flyer. So most 3-cost flyers are going to be 2/2s.
Yeah, like my tendency would be that Harrier is probably a bit better than Extract, but they are fairly close in power level, I would assume.
I would, yeah. I think it's honestly personal preference. I think, I don't know, Extract's a good removal spell, but it's only going to kill sort of like middling things. It's not sort of unconditional removal.
Hey, thanks for the follow.
Harrier's like a solid flyer, but it's not going to be the biggest thing in the air necessarily.
Yeah, it's like not flashy. It's just a really good card, but not a game breaker.
So I would, frankly, whatever is your personal preference. Like, I think if you go with Extract, you'd probably try to go for sort of like either the Xenon life gain deck if you could, or whatever. And if you went with Harrier, you would try to draft like a very flyer-centric deck. I like the text on Harrier. I don't think ever is going to matter, but
I've did 1 exact draft so far, and it was Elysian. I went 7-2. I went 1/2 into 7-2.
Yeah, nice.
And I had like a really good Elysian deck with like 3 Storm Crashers, 4 Dragon's Breath, a Cerso, and some other stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think I would take the Harrier because of the dust, and also because I think it's probably slightly better than the Extract. And even in like say a Felon deck, I would probably prefer the Harrier a bit over the Extract.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. Let's do Harrier.
Ooh, this is kind of a weird pack. I guess the tendency here of mine would be Curator or just Duelist Blade. Like Blade is probably just too good not to take.
Yeah, those are both really good. Those are the exact 2 that I would say are the best in the pack. And again, I think it comes down to preference. Like,
yeah, and the next 2 are like these 2.
Yeah, I agree. You're putting yourself down. You're not shabby at all. Like it's the exact same.
I mean, like the thing is like I think my card evaluation skills in Limited are often fairly good. I'm mostly off on like the weird cards that are like kind of hard to evaluate and also like require a lot of specific context knowledge and like format knowledge.
Sure.
And I also am really like kind of bad and sloppy at Limited playing. Like I think I'm pretty good at Limited deck building, for example. But yeah, like my Limited play is kind of sloppy. I don't take the time and consideration to play around all the possible cards the opponent could have and stuff like that. So I play into way too many tricks and shit like that.
I think they're both good. Like I think both of them lend themselves to the same sort of deck that you want with Cloud Snake Carriers or First Pick, which is like, well, so Curator is flying, and Elysian's probably like a good flying focus deck. And green-blue, while the Blade isn't flying per se, I think Horu has a lot of flying. So
it helps keep the sky in control, basically.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about like time versus justice, basically? Like, I mean, there could be an argument made if like Elysian or like time is overall better than justice. to prefer being in Elysian than in Horu, for example?
So here's actually a point. I was thinking about writing something again, but I hadn't sat down and thought about it. But one of the things that I was thinking about is, so there's so much hype about set 2, and it's like the first pack that you see. I think there's a lot of tendency to people drafting to take the new pairings. And I think if you like focus on the set 1 pairings, you can sort of reap the benefits of that, because like, you know, if a Terriax Hatchin comes around, it might come late because people aren't looking to play it because they're not, you know, they're playing all the new, you know, Horu or Xenon rather than Elysian. So
yeah. Also, I mean, I guess in terms of like Harrier's ability, it makes no difference since both colors don't really have any damage.
Yeah. I would take whichever one you want, and we'll just go from there. I think I really think it's like just a personal preference. Duelist Blade might be a little bit better. Like it is a removal spell basically. But it's just marginally better than like a Mithril Mace, right? Like a Mithril Mace is a 3/4 weapon.
Yeah, the Aegis is surprisingly unimpactful and limited usually.
Yeah. It's whatever you want. If you want to take the Duelist Blade, it's more dust for you if you want.
All the dust difference is irrelevant. I mean, I would be inclined a bit to take Curator just because it solves so much and really locks up the air. The card just feels so good.
Sure.
And yeah, like you said, this is like probably a bit worse than it seems on the surface, really, because of the comparison to Mace.
Yeah, like if you, it seems good, and it is still good, but I don't think it's that much better than like Mithril Mace, which is sort of like
not that great.
Okay card.
Exactly,
yeah. Yeah. The Curator is good. Yeah, let's take Curator.
Like Curator answers bombs kind of better than Duelist Blade does, I guess.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy.
Yeah, here I would just straight up snap the Stormcrasher because the card's really good. I've been getting way too many late pick Stormcrashers in my first draft. I was like, how can I get Stormcrashers with 3 cards in the pack? Like, what's wrong with people?
The Stormcrasher is really good. Like, it's a good early game pick, and then you like turn it into a 4/4. It's insane.
Yeah, like this. I really like the pay 6 ultimates because they're very realistic to hit every game. Unlike the 8 ultimates, which are more of like a flood protection payoff shit.
Well, you go ahead and say what you want.
I would actually be inclined to take Viper's Bite because of Curator and similar cards they would pick up later, because all the other stuff is pretty unimpactful. I mean, you could take one of these to help with some fixing. Trailblaze is just kind of shitty. And like Familiar is fine, like Familiar is also an okay pick, but I could actually see like Viper's Bite being a bit better than Familiar, but probably between the two of those.
So my initial thought was, I just really like Strangers a lot, like a little too much, but I think you can come across them really easily. I think you can also pick up Viper's Bites really late, so I wouldn't take it this early. Like, you'll see another Viper's Bite. They tend to go pretty late.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like a high pick, but I like the synergy with Curator and other cards that we will get in Elysian. Like Elysian has a bunch of pretty good Viper's Bite targets.
Familiar's fine.
Yeah, fine is the operating word here.
It's sort of card advantage if you can warp it, which is good, but a 1/1 flyer is like, I mean, that's humbug stats, which is not very good. I would probably take one of the 2 Strangers just to have like a body at 2 mana. I don't know. I don't want to end up with a bunch of like really solid 3s and 4s and then not have any early game. But I think you could take either of them. I probably wouldn't take the Bite, even though one might make our deck. I just think you can pick one up later. So I would take one of the Strangers or the Familiar, but I'd be more inclined to take a Stranger personally. And I'd probably take the Horu Stranger because, you know, there's a chance that we end up in Horu rather than Elysian. It looks like, I don't know.
Like,
that's just my... I don't know. I feel like we're more inclined to be blue rather, like we're going to stick with blue. based on the Stormcrasher that came through.
That's fair. The other argument would be that Shadow is the better splash color if we end up Elysian and one is Splash.
Sure. Either is I think it's either way. I think I would still take a Stranger though. Like these drafts often end up at least 2 colors splashing a third and sometimes splashing like another color. So I tend to pick Strangers a little bit higher than maybe other people do.
I think I'll take the Xenon Stranger for the like splash reason, because for now I'm not.
You can get feeding times and stuff like
yeah,
that.
Plus we can also end up like Felon and splashing stuff like the Curator as well.
Sure.
Also, we have to keep in mind that there's more gold cards for the old faction pairs than the new ones. So in general, there's like some benefit to staying in the old combinations in that regard.
Yeah.
And yeah, here it would say just a fairly easy Stormcrasher.
I like Stormcrasher more than Cyclops. Cyclops is a solid dude, but
yeah,
I don't think you could beat Flyer. Flyers win games.
Yeah, and like Cyclops is not that much better than Brawler, since the Overwhelm is kind of irrelevant.
I think this is a pretty easy pick in my opinion.
Yep, easy initiation.
Yeah.
This is so much better than Instinct and Draft.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to give my little spiel on Time Weaver.
I don't like the card.
I think it's a lot better than people credit for.
You think?
So, like, its body is really whatever, but if you ever hit something that costs, like, 5 or more mana, you're basically making them discard that card. Like, they just never get to play it.
That's true.
You know, when is anyone ever going to hit, like, 12 mana in draft? They just don't. I mean, it's not the best, but I don't know. Every time I've cast it, I've hit something and just basically been like, oh, well, you never get to play your 6-drop now. Like, it's just gone.
I mean, to be fair, the fact that it's a 3/4 makes the body relevant enough so that it's actually kind of fine. Like, if it was a 3/3, I would like it a lot less, but a 3/4 is like that sweet spot where it starts to be like a fairly impactful body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm willing to try it here.
I would take it.
Since the other options are not super exciting anyway. Here we can just take the Stranger on speculative value.
Yeah, take the Stranger. Love taking Strangers.
Since, I mean, the 3/3 Aegis is really not great, we can agree on that, right?
Yeah, it's not very good at all. So the draft I did the other day, I don't think Icebow is a very good card, but I will point out that it's incredible if you have any creatures with Deadly, which there are a couple in.
Oh, it's enemy, so it can also like deal to units, right? Yeah.
So my last draft we had like the 2/3 Gorgon.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that this wording means unit as well.
Yeah. So you just like, if you have a creature with Deadly, you just kill their guy. It's like.
Yeah, I actually kind of like it for that, to like pick it up in time, since you usually have a bunch of things like the 2-drop, the new one, and like Lumen and Viper's Bite and stuff. Yeah, and if we end up in like more infiltrate stuff, we can use it on, say, like a Yeti snow guy, like what's it? Snow chugger? Yeah. No, like I don't remember. The snowball guy. No, the snowball Yeti guy. Take the second one.
Sure. I mean, unless we get they're going to be terrible unless we get deadly things. Like, I wouldn't play him just in general, but if you can get some deadly things. Now with 2 of them, I would like highly prioritize anything with deadly, personally.
Weird for some reason.
Okay.
You speaking is opening my microphone from my headset. That makes no sense. I have no idea why. So weird. Because like my Winamp is not doing that, but my Skype is doing that. The problem is
talk louder.
No, like the problem is I muted my desktop audio, so we both going through my microphone. But obviously, if we're both going through my microphone, you're too soft. So basically, I have to mute my microphone while you talk, so that you are not echoing.
Gotcha.
like in OBS, because otherwise you're echoing because you go through my desktop audio and my microphone for some reason. I had the same issue with another friend when I did a co-op draft. It's really weird.
That's an easy pick. Like I have Winter is just like one of the best rares in the whole set.
Icy Manipulator still good, even if it's clunkier. Right, so here I would probably just want the Viverge over these 3 cards, because we are deep enough in Primal now that I want the Viverge. I think Bolt is just... Like, I would take Bolt if it was 4 packs Empty Throne, but I think with only 2 packs of Bolts, Viverge is better. And
my favorite card is all of a sudden kind of mediocre now. Like, you can't draft a like 7 static Bolt deck anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, Wyvarch is a pretty solid card. Huh.
This is kind of a randomly interesting pack. I mean, we could take Herald or Fallen Banner. That would actually be my 2 most likely calls, because I'm not super high on Tundra Explorer.
Yeah, Tundra Explorer's okay. It's not great. You don't really have any spells, so like, if you consider it like a 3/3 for 3 that like 1 out of every 10 times you attack with it, you'll draw a card. It's just not very good. I like Herald a lot personally, but I certainly wouldn't fault you for taking Banner too, because like, if you take the fixing earlier, you don't have to worry about it later. So Herald's sort of like a whatever card. Like, you don't have a lot of 2-drops, which is sort of concerning. So it might sort of lead me to that direction, but I also could see taking Film Banner for like...
Yeah, I'm a bit inclined to take the Herald simply because right now taking Felon Banner is almost purely speculative, because right now we wouldn't even splash the Stranger.
Yeah. Like, you have 1 2-drop right now.
And yeah, we need the 2-drops, exactly. And yeah.
Man, I hate Icebreaker. I'm just going to throw that out there, but you do have Eye of Winter. That's a pretty annoying combo.
Ooh, that's true. Plus potential other stuff to pick up.
You probably just want to take Stranger though. I don't.
I mean, it's shiny. I don't have four of these.
There you go. Perfect.
I mean, there's Dispel as well, but oh well.
No.
Pooh, what a lousy pack. Do we even care?
I mean, do you foresee picking up any like the new life steal things, or whatever they're called? The Xenon mechanic.
You mean like Life Force cards?
Life Force, yeah.
I think like speculatively, actually, Priest is probably really better than Strike, so we might as well take Priest. Kind of an interesting pick this late, because I think they are fairly close in power level.
I would take Herald again. I'd prefer to have a body. You still, if I'm gonna draft a deck like this, I want to have the ability to like block my opponent's stuff, and Herald does an okay job of dealing with like shitty 2/1s. I don't know, or 2/2s. I don't think you need a teleport, and I don't think daggers is really all that important in Elysian.
Yeah, I guess right now we don't really have many echo synergies, so I can see taking Herald over daggers. There's another solid Viper's Bite target.
Yeah.
That would be our second static bolt. I guess I'll take it, since it's actually decent with the Harrier as well. And who knows, maybe we get more.
Yeah. Yes! Live in the tree!
I wish I would have taken that early one now.
It's okay.
Another Herald.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll end up playing 3 Heralds.
I doubt it, but yeah. Might as well. So, I mean, we have this really beautiful shiny Talia's choice that is unfortunately pretty bad.
Yeah. So I have yet to play with Bolster. I have no
I
idea how
didn't
good
know
that
this
card
got
is.
moved to the set.
Yeah. It's actually pretty. It's not unplayable because it triggers Spark pretty easily. Like if you have a deck
That's
with
true.
Spark, it's a great way to do that.
That is true.
I've been sort of. Oh, go ahead.
So the question at this point really is like, we just want to take this card, which is far from great, but at least a flyer. I mean, yeah, Bolster is an interesting consideration, and I guess we could take this on like speculative splash value potentially.
Yeah, I think if Mortar is definitely on my radar here, because like, I don't know, it's a good burn spell, but I think either of the two uncommons are good enough that I wouldn't want to jump out of our like two primary colors at this point in time. I have no idea how good Bolster is. Serpent Mount's been pretty mediocre so far from what I've seen. So I personally would take the Bolster just to try it, but I don't actually know how good it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Bolster is a fast spell makes it actually pretty reasonably interesting, I think.
Yeah. Also notable that it triggers Life Force if you end up getting any Life Force cards.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I'm fine with taking Bolster because I agree, like, Serpent Mount is probably about as mediocre as it looks.
It just I've drafted it like a couple times now, and if you're like mentoring something, then it's not attacking or it's not blocking. Like either of those cases, I've always felt like, why am I taking time off from attacking to play this stupid thing? Or, well, now I can't mentor it because I'm too far behind, and then it just gets removed so easily.
Yeah, like the thing is, it is mostly like about as bad or almost worse than like a what's the 3/1 Reckless?
Yeah. It's basically that, but even worse sometimes.
Yeah, because you cannot even like be aggressive with it. Because it skips an attack on a big guy.
Yeah. I would take Bolster just to like try it and see what happens.
Yeah, and the deck is fairly defensive, so Bolster seems to make sense. Oh, I guess Voyaging Lumen, maybe?
Yeah, I guess they're both good.
Nika baby, thanks for the follow.
Is Amaran Archaeologist worth considering? I haven't played either. I haven't played it, so I don't know if it's too expensive to rely on, but...
I mean, I don't really like it.
Yeah. I'm fine with either of those cards. Ideally, neither of them make the cut. Or the Aegis guy, like, all of those are pretty mediocre in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think a 6 power 5/5 at least has some reasonable impact, and the implications of, like, generating value.
Yeah. Look how many ice bows are going around.
Like, what's with this pack again? Like, I guess we take Purify?
Yeah, let's take Purify, and then maybe we can find some fire mana somewhere.
This looks interesting.
Sure.
I guess it's this guy.
Two. Both of them. It's not even a consideration about which one's premium. They're both premium. Or Praxis Stranger. How many? What's your curve look like? Oh, my Skype thing is blocking it.
We have a lot of tools.
You could. Yeah. I like Cyclops because you'll almost certainly get a.
Yeah, I think so.
A snowball, and it's fun to point out that your snowballs deal 2 damage. By the way.
With Harrier.
Yeah.
So.
Man. You could take that Purify it and just like try to fix your red mana somehow.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable option to consider. There's our first fixing.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. How good is this card, you think?
Icequake. So Icequake deals damage to your own guys too. I thought it dealt damage just to your opponent's stuff. That's not how it works. So I did it and like basically killed my own board one time.
Well played. I guess we take another Cyclops then? Better than Yeti?
Sure. Yeti or Cyclops. I don't know which one's better. Let's take Cyclops. We want to throw some snowballs at people.
I mean, like curve-wise, Yeti would be a bit better, but I think Cyclops is just a better card.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that I've been learning is that there's so many more. This sort of goes back to the fact that like strangers are a lot more ubiquitous now because they make up a higher percentage of the commons that you'll see in packs 1 and 3. So the like baseline play is always going to be a 2/2 for 2.
Thank you, the slapstick dictator. Sorry.
So if you're playing a 3-drop that trades with a 2-drop, that's, I mean, it's got to have a pretty solid ability. And the Yeti's ability is okay, but I don't know. I don't know if either of those two.
I just take the banner.
Just take the banner? Sure. That's fine. I'd take that Purify and see if we can't get some Amber Acolytes in pack 4 to like slash this fire. Jeez.
Do we want to take the third one over Viper's Bite?
Oh,
with double ice bow?
Yeah, let's take Viper's Bite. Yes! Oh. That's awesome. What the fuck? I was thinking like it'd be so hard to come up with more fire banners.
Yeah, me too, like we are fixed.
What in the world?
This pack again.
So Stormcaller is good with
Viper's Bite, yeah. Ooh, baby. These packs, like, pure mockery.
Ugh. This is not good. Man, I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to get to Flame Blast mana, but you could always try to live the dream. I don't think we're playing a Decay in this deck. We've got too many good cards. And I don't really love the Sentinel's sort of like a really mediocre dude. You could just take the rare. Yeah. Yeah.
Dust it is. So it's like between Strike, Lynx and Guardian. I think we kind of have enough 4-drops, so I would say it's between one of those two. Probably Strike.
Yeah, either of them are good. Like those are all solid things. I really like Guardian because it's one of those cards that like in the late game you draw a Guardian and you're like, oh great, an 8/8. That's awesome.
It's true.
But I don't hate the idea of Lynx, but we've got enough like X3s at 2 that I don't really think it's
yeah, which is why I would lean towards Strike.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of like awesome removal other than the Purifies.
Yeah, we have like 4-drops already. And like Viper's Bite and Bolster and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So
I did not like it in the original, like for just packs of set 1, because I thought that Primal and those decks were all about tempo, and I think you've got a deck that like really rewards a card like Wisdom. Like you've got a 1/5 flyer and a 1/4 flyer. Like you've got a bunch of dudes that can help stall the board. Like I would take Wisdom personally. I hate Temple Scribe. It's just a waste of space in my deck. Holy smokes. I would take Wybark. I think that's just sort of a removal spell. And I always prefer removal spells.
yeah, we also don't have any Echo Abuse, so I can see that.
Yeah. Yes! Yes! Get it in there. Dude, that's pretty good.
Sexiest.
Oh yeah, wow. Getting some good pickups here. Getting some good pickups here.
Totally. This is gonna be interesting.
I think this deck's pretty. It's definitely got the makings of like a deck that could go all the way. Well, hold up. We're not. We're gonna pare it down to like. I always pare it down to like the number of non-sigil cards that I want, and then just add sigils at the end. I think.
Yeah, I usually just do it like this, then I see how many cards I need to cut for sure.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I would probably want like 2 fire sources and the strangers for the purifiers, I think.
Yeah.
Have like 1 fire sigil.
Let's see.
I think we're gonna cut the priest and the lumen.
Sure, we don't need backlash, I don't think.
That's
I'm not
reasonable.
a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of that.
We probably only want at best 1 bow, if any.
We don't have a whole lot of synergies with that. Okay,
Maybe just cut bows.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's still kind of nice because it's it like makes our flyer bigger and kills like a small thing. So maybe 1 is fine. But yeah, we already have like Stormcaller. But it has some synergy with the snowballs because it like lets us deal more than 1 damage, so it kind of adds up and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, probably since we need to cut stuff, might as well.
Let's see. Let's see. I think this deck looks pretty solid. Like
I think so too.
You're lacking like some insane bombs. You've got Eye of Winter, but that you don't have like I don't know
game-winning bombs. Yeah.
Like that. I would cut 1 power, so that means we need to cut like 3, or maybe even. Man, I've gotten so greedy lately.
Yeah, I think it's fine since our curve tops at 5, and we have like wisdom and levitate and stuff. I would cut 1 herald.
Sure. You can cut the Time Weaver if you want. I don't know.
I'm fine with giving it a try. Like the 3/4 buddy makes me want to try him. Like if it was a 3/3, I'd cut it now. So what's the last cut then?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Now I'm sad we didn't get Icebreaker.
It feels foolish to get rid of a Levitate because that's just sort of like it's cycles. Like
yeah,
really,
and sometimes like randomly blows out people and stuff.
Yeah. Is Bolster good enough? Like, we don't have huge dudes, so we're not gonna. I don't know, man. That might be what I would try, or the Wisdom of the Elders, one of those two.
I mean, like the thing is,
I don't think you can cut a unit. I'll say that because you only have 7.
Yeah, that's true. I think the point is the deck is like kind of defensive.
Yeah.
And Bolster helps with the defense and makes like the Vivage fight other 3 attack stuff without dying, so there's some appeal to it. But yeah, given that we are kinda light on units, it's a bit so-so. Has some blowout potential. Turning these Cyclopses into 4/5 overarms and stuff.
Yeah, a 4/5 Cyclops is definitely a lot better than a 4/3 Cyclops.
Especially if we do it mid-combat and the opponent's like, oops.
Yeah.
That's like the thing, it's a trick. It's an expensive trick, but it's a trick. So, I don't know.
You could always just play 46 cards, too.
I mean, we can always just cut Levitate, too.
Yeah. Or it's either that or Wisdom, I think. I like Wisdom in this deck. I think it's good, but...
Yeah, I think Wisdom is good in this deck. I'm not a big fan of Wisdom, but I think in this deck it's good.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, cut the Levitate then. Makes me so sad.
Me too. Still looking for another cut.
You've got a lot of burn, which is nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave the last cut to you. I gotta go do some work, Menu. So
All right.
I look forward to hearing how you did that or how you do. So good luck with that. I think this deck's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks for the draft.
No
Really
problem,
appreciated the discussion. It was nice.
Yeah.
Since you are definitely one of the people that I respect a lot in draft, and because I know enough about your reasoning and thought process and background that I feel like together with your results I can trust your judgment and your results, because results alone without knowing like how people think and come to their conclusions and what opinions they hold are only like a part of the picture. That doesn't immediately make me like trust someone's skill and knowledge of the given format or game or whatever.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Good luck, dude.
All right.
I'm gonna check you
Thanks
later.
for hopping in.
All right. Peace out.
See you later. Bye. All right. There was ZoochZ hanging out. Alright, turn the music back on. So annoying how for some reason music doesn't turn on my microphone, but Skype for whatever reason does it. So weird.